Hi there. Just thought I'd say a few words on the Eubank Williams fight, which I was at on the weekend. Um, I'm not normally a Facebook Live person, so I'm not quite sure if I've even done this right. I hope it is. Um, so just say a few words on the fight. Just leave a few people join first. I'm just looking here now. Actually, it looks like I got a black eye there, but it's actually just dry skin under my eye. And I got a bit of dry skin under that eye as well, which I've been putting some cream on, but it's still there. Someone actually commented on Saturday night, it looked like I had a black eye when I was at the boxing in Cardiff. Yeah, like I said, there's a few people there now, so I'll just crack on. The fight on Saturday, I was working for Seconds Out, had a really good week, doing all the fight week for them, doing the public workout on Wednesday, did the press conference on Thursday. I wasn't at the weigh-in. They had someone else do the weigh-in, and I was there for the obviously the fight on Saturday. So, which is what I want to talk about. I had a really good view from the press row or the press section. I was in the centre of the ring, bang in the middle, 2 rows back, so an excellent view of the fight. The commentators, the Sky commentators, were to my right hand side on the down this side of the ring, if you like. So we had Matt Macklin, Enzo, and all the other guys working for Sky. I think Gareth Davis was there for Talk Sport as well. I think that's where they were working from. So my position was really good. Just my thoughts on the fight itself. I think the general consensus by everyone in the build-up to the fight was if Liam was going to win, he'd have to box sensible and fight clever. Don't get too much involved in a fight. Try and look to win on points. Liam, very good boxer, probably underrated boxer, because a lot of his more recent fights he's won by stoppage, but he is a very good boxer. And the general consensus was if Liam was to win, he'd win on points. And obviously the other side of the coin, for Eubank to win, he has to make it a physical fight. He has to make it maybe a bit rough, maybe try and goad Liam into fighting toe to toe. Because whatever you say about Chris Eubank Jr., he's got a brilliant chin. He's got a great engine. He's one of those few fighters in the world that seems just as strong in the latter stages of a fight as he does in the opening rounds. And there's not many fighters I can think of. It's amazing how he does it. He did it against George Groves, against De Gale. He was the same, and he's done it throughout his whole career. He has got for all his faults, he's got a great engine, Chris Eubank Jr. The fight itself got off to obviously a disastrous start for Liam Williams. The first quarter of the fight, he'd been down 3 times, and obviously rounds 1, 2, and 4, and Liam from that point on was obviously chasing the fight, if you like. And I think those knockdowns totally changed the dynamic of the fight, because it allowed give Eubank a cushion to he didn't have to try and win the middle rounds, if you like, and he was able to take his foot off the gas. And actually the middle rounds was how I expected the fight to go, minus the knockdowns. I expected Liam to be using his jab. I expected him to box with a fairly tight guard, just throwing shots, doubling up on his jab, the occasional right hand, which he seemed to be doing very well from rounds 5 or 6 onwards, up through to rounds 11, where Eubank started aggressively around 11. He obviously got the knockdown again, whether it was a knockdown. Well, I'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, so the middle rounds was actually how I expected the fight to go. But of course, the problem was for Liam, and I'm not pretending to be neutral. I mean, I wanted Liam to win. I've known Liam for a very long time. I've watched him as an amateur. I've watched him throughout his pro career. I've watched many of his fights from ringside. I've interviewed him plenty of times. I actually think I was probably the first person to interview Liam for television when I interviewed him for Made in Cardiff TV after he won the Commonwealth title. But yeah, so So Liam was in effect chasing the fight, and he was never going to stop Eubank, I don't think. So after round 4, Liam needed basically either a stoppage or a knockdown, which against someone who's got such a brilliant chin as Chris Eubank Jr. was going to be very difficult to do, if not impossible. I mean, Eubank, I don't think he's the best boxer in the world, and you can fault him for a few things, but you can't fault him for his condition. He's always in absolutely amazing shape. He's got an absolute granite chin, and it was really mission impossible almost for Liam from round 4 onwards after the 3 knockdowns. But you got to give credit for him because Liam didn't stop trying for the whole time. And some people put online that, well, Liam would have won if it wasn't for the knockdowns. Well, yeah, maybe. But also you got to consider that after the first 4 rounds, Eubank knew he was ahead. He knew he had a cushion. He knew, and you got to presume that had Eubank not scored those early knockdowns, he probably would have been more aggressive in those middle rounds. You would probably think. But having said that, I just noticed I got it in front of me here on my computer. Chris Eubank Jr. has criticised the commentary from Saturday night, and in particular he's mentioned Matthew Macklin. And Matthew Macklin has gave rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 all to Liam Williams, which I'd agree with. Possibly round 5 might have gone the other way, I don't know. But obviously Matthew was in a different position to me. And Chris Eubank Jr. is criticising those rounds, so I'm guessing Eubank Jr. felt he was winning some of those rounds. So if Eubank had fought that way anyway, without the knockdowns, I thought Liam was winning those rounds. And the guy to my left, a guy from London, I didn't catch his name, working for one of the boxing websites, he thought Liam was winning those rounds. I had a guy on my right-hand side, writing for Ring Magazine, I think it was. He thought the rounds were close. I think he was edging towards Liam, but he acknowledged they were very close, not easy to score. So Eubank seems to think he was winning those rounds, but on the I haven't actually looked at the official scorecards. I'm not sure if they're available, but on Matthew Macklin's card at least, he wasn't. And on most people's cards I've looked at today, the online reporters, they were giving all those middle rounds to Liam. And the fight was really going the pattern I expected it to go, with Liam jabbing, throwing occasional right hands, Eubank throwing big looping shots, missing wildly, and pulling faces. You don't score points for pulling faces. You don't score points for doing the alley shuffle. So Liam was up against it, but credit to Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, he was in the lion's den, or the dragon's den, if you like. It was a very hostile atmosphere, and he did what he said he was going to do. And we've got to give him credit for that. But I'm guessing Liam he's probably thought of it already, I guess. He might even be thinking, what if those knockdowns hadn't have taken place? And actually, in the 11th round, when Liam got knocked down, was there a knockdown? I don't know. I've not watched it back on television yet, so I don't know. From my position, Liam seemed a little bit stunned, lost his balance, and then got cuffed over with a forearm. Whether that's the case or not, I don't quite know, because I haven't watched it back. I'll probably watch it back tomorrow or the next day. But Adam Booth was visibly, you could see he was annoyed. So I'm not sure if Adam thought it was a push, or if it was a stumble, or he was cuffed over rather than punched over. And the knockdown in the 11th round really was the end of the road for Liam. He was, even though he'd done really well to box his way back into the fight, at least from my eyes, and a lot of people ringside, we all thought Liam was getting himself back in the fight. But the 11th round really was the end of the road, unfortunately for Liam. Yeah, so disappointing from a Liam Williams point of view. I mean, like I said at the start, I don't claim to be neutral, although I'll try and look at a fight from a non-biased point of view. Just reading a comment here, it looked at any point Eubank could have ended it. I don't necessarily think so. I don't think Eubank is necessarily a good finisher, because he tries to load up too much on all the shots. He doesn't build up. He doesn't try to every punch is a power shot. You could see it. He was throwing huge hooks, huge uppercuts, missing wildly by miles. But to his credit, Eubank is super fit. He is super strong. He's probably one of the best conditioned boxers in the world. And as I said at the start, he's able to carry his power right through to the end of a fight, which most boxers are not able to do. He's one of the very few fighters that seems just as strong in the last round as he is in the opening rounds, which is, it's freakish. But again, I guess that's the same as his father. His father did the same. So that's my thoughts on the fight. Really disappointed for Liam, but no, I think Liam's got nothing to be ashamed of. He showed amazing spirit. I'm sure there are some boxers who would have been so disheartened after the start, might not even got up after that third knockdown, or the corner would have pulled them out. But Liam, to his credit, he managed to get himself back in the fight. And, he will be questioning what if the knockdowns didn't happen? Would he have been able to box his way to victory? We'll never know, because of course Chris Eubank would say that if he hadn't scored the early knockdowns, then he would have probably been more aggressive in the in the middle rounds as well. So it's one of those really. Harry Rudge is saying here, Liam did not seem his usual self for some reason. Yeah, I mean, Liam's had a tough career. He's we don't know the effects of the fight with Demetrius Andre, whether they've had any lasting effects on him. The knockdown itself, the couple of the knockdowns seemed quite light. I mean, actually, the first knockdown, most of us at ringside, we didn't even think it was a knockdown. We thought Liam had slipped. It was only when Liam got up and didn't protest when the referee was giving him a count. It was only actually at that point that we realised it was actually a knockdown, the fact that Liam didn't protest it. And there was another soft knockdown where Liam seemed to walk onto a jab, but they weren't particularly hard jabs. I mean, Eubank, although does throw his jab from an unusual angle, he throws it from his waist rather from his shoulder. I mean, most boxers throw the jab from his shoulder and it comes a certain direction, whereas Eubank throws his jab from his waist and he brings it upwards. So maybe that was the reason Liam might have been off balance. We don't know. Liam didn't go to the post-fight press conference, understandably. I mean, that is fairly standard. I mean, if you've had a really tough fight like that, and obviously Liam's face was busted up, obviously his health is the number one priority. So Liam had to go and get checked out to make sure he's good. And obviously we have seen pictures online, and he put a few posts up, and he seems health-wise he seems good, which is obviously the most important thing. Do you think he struggled with the weight? Not as far as I know. I mean, I spoke to Liam on camera and off camera before the fight, and he didn't mention anything about the weight. Normally, in big fights, especially when you're around fight week, you hear rumours. If a boxer's struggling to make weight, you hear rumours, and there was no rumours about Liam struggling to make the weight in this fight, not that I heard anyway. And I know quite a few people close to Liam, and there was no rumours in the build-up that there was any problem. I mean, Liam's never struggled to make weight. I mean, all boxers find it difficult. That's just boxing. But yeah, I don't think the weight was an issue as far as I know. I mean, perhaps Liam might come out and say something different, but as far as I know, the weight wasn't an issue. Okay, so I've unless there's any questions anyone wants to ask about the fight, that's me done really. I've had a little ramble now, just to get a few things off my chest, just about a few of my thoughts about the fight. John Manning, you're right, Liam, about the jabs. Eubank looked like he didn't get out the first gear, or can't even. Well, that's what I said earlier. I mean, the middle rounds of the fight went the way I expected. I expected Eubank to be not doing much because he doesn't throw a lot of punches. Generally, in all his fights, he tends to leave it. Like, remember the fight with Billy Joe Saunders? He let the first 6 rounds just slip away, and he was chasing the fight from round 7 or 8 onwards. But we never know. We got Carl Watts. Where does Liam go from here? I think Liam's probably shown he's probably better than domestic level. However, there are a few good domestic fights out there for him if he just wanted to get into, back into things. If he wants to, of course. Liam may decide to retire. I don't know. I haven't spoke to him since the fight, but there are plenty of options for him. Maybe the sensible route will be have a few fights at domestic level, maybe try and win the British title back, European title fight. And then once you're in that position, you are only a phone call away from getting back in world level if you're happy to take a fight at late notice, or if one of the champions wants to make a voluntary defence. You never know. But at this stage, I mean, if Liam wanted to retire, he's been a two-time British champion, he's fought for the world title, he's fought on massive bills. We got two lovely children, so if he wanted to retire, then I think that might be the right decision for him. But it's obviously health is the most important thing, and I'm sure Liam's got some good people around him who will advise him about that. The rematch, someone's mentioned, just looking back at the comments, I think the rematch only applied to Eubank if Williams had won. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's the way it normally works. It's normally the rematch only applies to the A side. And as from a promotional point of view, Eubanks was their fighter, so he was the A side, even though he was the away fighter in effect. But he was the away fighter, but he was the home fighter in the promotional point of view, because he was the boxer fighter, if you like. They had an agreement to show his fights. Just looking, is there any other comments here? Well, I mean, just Ronda, is it Ronda HGV? I mean, Liam has shown he's probably above domestic level. Just look at his fights. I mean, he's blown away most of the guys he's fought at domestic level, British title level. So he's probably above, I certainly say he's definitely above British level. And actually, of all the fighters, I mean, Liam's got great power, but Eubank has got such a good chin. So it takes that acid away from Liam, if you like. The fact that Eubank's got such a good chin, and he was never going to knock out Eubank. Yeah, Darren Evans, I think he was outclassed, falling in when throwing punches and walking a jab. Yeah, just on that, because of the way the fight started, the first 4 rounds, Liam was chasing the fight, and Liam had to take risks. And he was taking risks he probably wouldn't have taken had it not been for the knockdowns at the start of the fight. If it hadn't been for the knockdowns, Liam could have boxed more conservatively. He wouldn't have had to try and win every round. I mean, for Liam, full credit to him, even despite the knockdowns, he was still trying to win the fight. And for Liam to win the fight, he had to basically go and win every single round that was left in the fight, which he did do to his credit. And he did land some particularly good right hands, because I think it was round, I haven't watched the fight back on television yet, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was round 6 or 7. Eubank was pulling faces and talking to Liam. But by round sort of 8 or 9 and 10, that demeanour had changed from Eubank, and Liam was actually landing some good shots, and the fun and games or the jokes, the face pulling had stopped from Eubank, because he could probably feel that Liam was getting back in the fight. And I'm guessing Roy Jones was in his corner, his trainer was telling him, no, this you don't let this fight slip away. But the knockdowns changed the dynamic of the fight right at the start, and Liam was obviously left chasing the fight, so he had to take a few risks. And Eubank had a massive cushion on the scorecards because of the knockdown, so he could take his foot off the gas effectively and just wait for his moments. In those middle rounds, I will say, from Eubank's point of view, he looked like he was trying to walk Liam onto his shots. He was trying to time shots to try and catch Liam coming in. He's probably loading up too much. I mean, I'm still not 100% sure that Roy Jones is a good fit for Eubank. But we'll see in the future when he fights again. There's talk of him fighting Triple G. I've noticed on Sky talk about him fighting Kell Brook or Conor Benn, which I think is silly. I mean, Eubank's a middleweight. He's fought as high as super middleweight at world level, so for him to be fighting potentially fighting welterweights is just a bit silly, I think. Yeah, Rod Rees from Newport. I'm gutted for Liam. Yeah, same here, mate. Yeah, we probably all know Liam. People in Welsh boxing know Liam. Knows a real character, a great guy, and we're all gutted for him. David Barland, respect was due for Liam after the knockdowns to go all the way. Yeah, I mean, you never would have thought after the first 3 or 4 rounds that Liam would still be in there fighting, trying to win the fight in round 12. And you've got to give credit for Liam for that. He never stopped trying. He never quit. Even though his eye was badly swollen up, really badly swollen up, he never quit. He never looked like quitting for 1 single second. Okay then, I've rambled on enough now. I don't know if people like listening to this, but if it's popular, I'll possibly do it again sometime. I don't understand why the Welsh are so defensive just because Liam didn't win. I'm Welsh, but I've supported Chris from the start. He deserved to win. Yeah, I don't think anyone's said Chris didn't deserve to win. He did what he had to do. Yep, I don't think anyone's said any different. I don't think anyone's said any different from that, Deleth. Okay, so that's me. I've got that off my chest now. So if this is popular, perhaps I'll do another one sometime in the future. Okay, thank you. Cheers. And just a comment from David Barland. Yeah, cheers, mate. Hope you enjoyed the fight. I know the fight didn't go away the way we wanted it to go, but that's boxing, I guess. And if it was a foregone conclusion, we wouldn't all be watching it. So there we go. Okay, cheers, guys. Thanks.